But even in my own home, peace is elusive, as is sleep. I lie awake thinking of what I saw in that mansion. Of who I saw. If I so much as hear a single whisper from her, if I so much as see a wisp of her hair, I'm afraid I'll go mad. But none of that happens. And it makes me feel hollow. For 2 nights I've had trouble sleeping. But it's only one morning, when fatigue has already let me rest, that I'm reminded of what terrifies me so. Okay. Dreamland. In my restless dreams I see that mirror, the one in the study, and in it I see her. I see them. That was not expected. Are you... I mean, normally if you dream of 2 hot blondes in your dream, it's gonna have a different flavor than this. I'm trying to figure out if they're one body with a shared chest and 2 heads, or if their boobs are facing towards each other for science purposes. Because I feel like you're missing out if it's 2 heads sharing 1 body. That's just me. Anyway, Lorraine and Hannah. Hannah and Lorraine.
Oh, pathetic Marianne. Work, work, work.
The sudden eyes opening.
She'll work herself to death. See? See? She doesn't listen. That's all she did. Look at what happened to me.
They talk among themselves with cruel smiles and venomous tongues. Or rather, to themselves. 2 heads, 1 body. Ah, thank you, Marianne, for checking for me. A horrible mockery of these women, as if they were the one and the same.
More's the pity. Life goes on and goes out, and she doesn't even see it. Do you think she'll even realize when she's kicked the bucket herself?
When they say a person has a hard time telling when they're in a dream, it was true often enough. Even with this bizarre sight, even with the obvious implication that this isn't real, I can't help but feel distrust.
Likely. Is that any way to live at all? She might as well be dead. Cruel fate that she's alive and I'm... well...
Though they speak into each other's ear, tones low and hushed, I can still hear them as clear as day. Their whispers pervade the air, heavy and oppressive. They bury and dig into my head like tiny maggots worming their way into my skull. My goodness, the sudden changes. It is only then that they take notice of my presence. Eyes turn towards me, and I can only feel small under their scrutiny. Caricature smiles etch on their faces, mimicking each other grotesquely.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie? Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite. Unless you ask, that is.
Heyo.
Have you been looking at us? Spying? How scandalous. Such a naughty girl.
A scandal?
I'm sure you were just waiting for something lewd to happen, weren't you?
No.
You know she will not admit it. She thinks it wrong. You've said it so yourself. Yes. She thought me wrong, impure, abnormal, because I loved her.
Oh no. Well, my breath hitches and I open my mouth to protest, but they stop me, screeching. The mirror that holds them cracks, lines spidering across its surface.
Do not lie! We know the gluttonous thoughts you try to deny, girl. All those desires you bury beneath that sickening guilt. You act the martyr when you turn the bed you lie in into your own hedonistic hell.
Dang, called out.
You are nothing but a tainted soul with filth-stained flesh held together by falsehood and pride.
They look livid. And when it looks like they would lunge. Oh, thank goodness that's over. Ugh, what a horrible dream. I wake, feeling like the wind had been knocked out of me. With a groan, I squint and find a certain fluff ball sitting on my chest looking as pleased as Punch. Oh, thank you, Baruthiel. The good kitty. She is the overlady of the cats, queen of despair and destruction of nice furniture. Though I can't stay mad at Her Majesty because it feels like she did something good this time. I was having a nightmare, but I can't even remember what it was about. Well, it's probably a good thing. Trying to recall leaves a terrible pit in my stomach. Maybe it's probably better that I don't remember.
Good morning, Baruthiel. Who's the good kitty? Are you hungry? Is that why you woke me up?
A content purr comes from my sweet dear before she jumps off the bed and trots toward the kitchen. On the other hand, it takes me a bit more before I roll out of bed and start my day. Mornings before work is always a quiet affair. Shower first, then a mug of coffee and a bowl of oats. Sometimes I do stretches, and I always check my work email. The Wrights will be moving into the mansion today. I don't think the paperwork is officially done yet, but it isn't too far-fetched to think they were allowed to start their move despite that. Rich people like them will always find ways to get what they want, after all.
I'll be leaving you again today, Beth. So you behave and make sure not to shred up my new covers, okay? And don't worry, I didn't forget tomorrow is Black Cat Day, so I'll throw you a party.
Ah, good lass.
But only if you behave like a proper lady.
That's cute. She barely gives me a glance as I say that before going back to her own food. Cats. Still better than humans. Most of the time. Too bad I have to work with humans. The place is already busy as soon as I get here. The foreman, one that I've recommended to the Wrights for his work ethic, is early as usual. Already he's instructing men here and there with the bigger loads. I have no chance to talk to him as Mrs. Wright appears and greets me with a smile.
Mrs. Wright, I hope everything has been to your liking thus far.
Good morning, Marianne. It has been delightful and these men have been very helpful. Look at all this. It's so busy here. I'm getting tired just looking at them go.
No complications so far with the movers or the previous owners of the mansion, I hope?
If anything, the only one being problematic is Luke, if I'm to be honest. He can be such a diva, but I do like that about him.
She stops, looking up at the upper landing where Mr. Wright comes through with two other movers in the mirror from the study.
Oh, do be careful with that mirror. We wouldn't want anyone getting hurt because of broken glass. Why are you even having it carried around?
Oh? You did say you didn't want the mirror, and I keep getting distracted by it.
Good God.
If I'm going to turn the study into my office, I'd rather not have it there.
I believe we mistook it for a painting, though.
Where can we put this?
Well, you are not putting it in our room. Why don't you go, I don't know, put it in the wine cellar for now? We can figure out if we'll store it in the attic or somewhere else later, yes?
Yeah, I should definitely put it in the attic with the other haunted stuff.
You heard her, boys. To the cellar it goes. Mush!
Doo-doo. The movers bring down the mirror one step at a time, no matter how much the man tells them to hurry. An unsettling feeling grows in my stomach as I see our reflection in the bloody thing. And I look away, not wishing to risk anything. If I see Lorraine's image in the mirror now, I wouldn't know what I'd do. Wonder what that story update was. I don't have the luxury of privacy right now, and I am not going to break down in front of all these people. Okay. Mrs. Wright only shakes her head and laughs at her husband's antics as they take the mirror out of here. He's back and at it again soon enough, pointing the men here and there. I'd say he's the man with the plan, but it sort of interferes with the layout and design that we've agreed upon before. I'm about to point it out, but...
It's better you let him realize his mistakes on his own, rather than tell him of them. That way you do not get blamed for his actions.
Smart man.
It is more fun, too, to tell him, how does they say it? I told you so, once he slips up.
I love Johans.
Been working with him long enough to know that, huh?
It's not like I plan to make too much of a fuss, unless what he changes is actually crucial.
It happens often enough, when one is made to accompany him nearly all hours of the day.
Up, higher, come on now.
Still, he could at least be less pushy about things.
Careful now. I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
It is surprising how hands-on he is compared to my usual clientele. Well, the both of them are, actually. It's refreshing to have them participate, despite their initial reluctance.
Luke, do the dishwashers go into the kitchen or the butler's pantry?
Pantry, Buttercup. Careful, that's Emma. No, you there, put that down. You do not manhandle a Napoleon Abueva.
He really needs to tone down the dramatics a notch. Mrs. Wright and the butler look like they're used to it by now. But the rest of us, well...
Sweetie, why don't we go and sort your suits upstairs? Let your Hans and Marianne and the foreman deal with the rest of the work.
We have this, Mrs. Wright.
Yes, please do go before a blood vessel bursts. Bloodstains are so troublesome to clean.
There is an obvious sense of relief as Mr. Wright is dragged out of the room, leaving the movers to do their work in peace. Some grumbling even comes from some of the younger workers. It's a good thing the family butler isn't some blindly loyal tool to his boss, or there will be trouble with Mr. Wright.
He is such a bratwurst. Whiny baby who never got enough hugs from his mutter.
Do go on.
Probably lost in translation, and not that I'm condoning talking about someone else behind their back, but I think you meant to call Mr. Wright a horrible brat.
Well, he is that too. There are a lot of things I can call him, but I mean to say that he is a big weenie.
9-9, I meant what I said. He is a pig weenie.
A childish name for a childish person. Like a child, he whines when he doesn't get what he wants, and he breaks the toys that he has.
That didn't even sound like Marianne. That gets a laugh from me, as well as a few of the movers who linger near. He and I carry boxes, instructing the movers where they should be, and generally taking over Mr. Wright's work. It goes off without a hitch, and the man is helpful, efficient, and capable with physical labor despite his clean-cut appearance. A gentleman to boot, taking boxes from me when he sees me struggling with them. Speaking of boxes...
Hey, one of the boxes for the kitchen is missing. Has anyone seen it? The one with the pots and the knives.
The bratwurst had it brought upstairs, thinking it was for the attic.
Ah yes, cutlery obviously belongs in the attic.
Why would he... Oh, never mind. I'll go get it.
Why even bring a box of pots and knives to the attic? That man is ridiculous. There's probably no point in making sense of what he does if he does them just because he can. At least it turns out that I don't have to make it all the way up to the attic. The mover, probably on Mr. Wright's orders, left the box on the stairs.
At least it's not that heavy.
I managed to hoist it up without too much effort. But the time it takes for me to do that is long enough for me to overhear an odd conversation I could never in my life imagine coming from a couple like the Wrights.
Why, if you're not careful, I might go a bit loopy and I'll start bringing cats home.
Oh yeah, I remember this convo.
And soon enough, one day you'll find yourself going home to a farm just filled with felines that follow you everywhere.
Oh, don't bluff. The things would shred up your precious furniture. Besides, you don't even like cats.
True, true. Dogs are infinitely superior, of course.
But what about the wet dog smell? The mess. I'm not cleaning up after a mutt, no matter how cute.
Is this really a conversation you couldn't picture them having?
If you think about it, a cat would be better.
For once, I'll have to agree with Whiskey on this one, though I can live with Mrs. Wright being a dog person. But as amusing as this conversation might get, I really shouldn't be caught eavesdropping or slacking off on the job. At most, I should be looking at ways of possibly soundproofing certain rooms, perhaps bringing it up if they don't realize the lack of it. I really should... Yeah, let's just move on. Ooh, positive with both of them. Nice, nice. Yeah, I don't need to be caught eavesdropping that. No matter how bizarre their conversation might get, I really must go. Not to mention, just standing here when I have no more reason to loiter just feels wrong. Besides, the magic word here is privacy, and I respect that. Keep it in mind, and I won't have a guilty conscience filled to the brim with the secrets of the rich and famous in my hands. Perfect. I'd take the stairs 2 steps at a time if I wasn't in danger of getting stabbed by my baggage and if nobody else was in the foyer. But as Johans takes the box from me, I only give him a small smile. There is no reason to gossip about the peculiar conversation of his employers. He's probably heard much odder things from them, and he doesn't seem to be a cat or a dog person either. As soon as I follow him into the kitchen, he raises a hand to stop me.
Nine, I know you are very skilled in architect, and I have seen your work. But this shall be my kitchen, and I shall fix it according to my wishes. Yeah?
Okay.
Kind of weird. Anyone would think that pots and knives are supposed to go anywhere but the kitchen, huh?
I assume he's gotten them confused. It wouldn't be the first time.
The knives? I assume he doesn't have personal pots. Although maybe he likes to cook for himself, who knows. Does Luke have a personal knife collection?
Confused? How does that even work? I understand covers, carpets, or even curtains getting mixed up. Hey, I'd even understand pots being mixed up with silver decor. But knives?
Yeah, knives.
Oh, he has a collection of ornamental ones from his father. It takes them everywhere he goes, wherever he moves.
What were you gonna say about his dad? Ornamental knives, huh? I mean, it could be a mundane thing. Could be.
I guess that makes sense. A bit. Still odd.
He merely shrugs before going back to work. The movers work efficiently even when they're left alone, and they do quick work of their responsibilities. The head foreman comes, standing in the doorway, to consult me on this or that, and I have to go help out every now and then. But they pretty much have everything up to standards. They skip lunch entirely, not even realizing when they do so. Nevertheless, all is well as the butler gets to heating up the leftover bubble and squeak from breakfast and makes a generous batch of fish and chips for them. Ooh, man, that sounds good. Most likely simple in comparison to what he serves to the Wrights, but well done nonetheless.
That smells good. Want to wrap up some for me to go?
It's an idle observation more than anything. My thoughts as they are preoccupy me.
If there are any left. One can't go wrong with fish and chips. Everyone loves them. Even my husband. And he's American.
I really do hate getting so up close and personal with my clients. It's a distraction. It is obvious to me that I've gotten my priorities all wrong when I can't help but think about what I heard, what I learned about the Wright couple. These things have a way of creeping up on a person. Thoughts, ideas, whether they are fact or fiction. They creep up and fester, crawl and writhe in a way that twists. I hear giggling, delighted and mocking. They creep up and... The sensation of fingers ghosting briefly on my arm causes me to freeze and hiss.
Don't!
I half expect her to be there.
Whoa, no need to scream bloody murder.
Oh, don't do that when there's ghosts in this house, Luke.
It's just me. Quiet down before you break glass.
Don't go creeping up on people. But it's just whiskey.
Don't do that again. Ever.
I don't like being scared. Though I don't believe in the likes of spooks, being startled is not on top of the list of things Marianne liked. Lucky for him, I have nothing within reach, or he would have gotten on friendly terms with something like a rolling pin.
What was with that reaction? Were you really scared?
Look, man, I had a dream about your wife and an ex-love of mine sharing a body with blood all around them, and they were screaming at me. You jumped too.
Has Johans been telling you ghost stories? He just loves to scare people. Isn't that right, Brother Gurium?
The butler's expression is unreadable. I hardly see any emotion on his face to begin with since I started working for the Wrights, aside from vague amusement. There must have been something there, though, judging from Mr. Wright's own content look. The expression on Mr. Wright's face is almost cruel. But neither of them spoke even as Johans leaves the room to serve the workers their late lunch. How do you guys get on exactly?
So, now that we're alone, Marianne, what are you so jumpy for?
I was just thinking about all the urban legends the movers have been telling me about this place.
Don't tell me you believe in that tosh. They're nothing but tales made up to scare children.
Tosh.
Timmy, Billy, don't you dare go up to that big mansion and get in trouble there. The ghosts are going to get you.
I can't with Luke. Oh, his voice actor does such a good job.
That's a boring way to look at it, but that's usually what it is anyway, no? Like I said, I was just thinking.
It would be a relief, actually, if those rumors of this place being haunted is true. That just means I'm not going bonkers. I'd rather not be going mad and there actually is a ghost trying to kill me. Hearing, let alone seeing, a dead person isn't exactly the symptoms of a healthy mind. Sure, it means there would be such things, such as ghouls and goblins, but at least I'd be sane. On the other hand, there would actually be a dead girl walking around.
If you could excuse the inane question, Mr. Wright, you haven't noticed anything weird here?
A simple enough question on the surface, yet I notice the man stiffen as the question leaves my mouth. I wouldn't have noticed it if I wasn't watching his reaction intently, but in his eyes I see something dangerous.
That depends on your definition of the word weird. Are we still on the topic of this place being haunted?
Did you find the body I stuffed in the cellar that I stabbed with my ornamental knife collection?
Because no, things have not started to fly around and we have yet to require an exorcism. I don't think my head would like to do the whole 180-degree turn thing.
Please don't.
Well, maybe that, but no strange people?
Aside from my usually weird butler and all the weird men traipsing around touching my things? No, not really. Why do you ask? Have you noticed anyone strange while you were here? Because you must report it to Johans and he'll have security handle it. But these reports better not be about ghosts and things that go bump in the night. I don't want to waste manpower on the boogeyman or senseless witch hunts.
I'll keep that in mind, Mr. Wright. But no, it's nothing like that. I guess the mansion is just strange for me. It's a unique project.
No strange men or women lurking about then?
A dead teenager would technically qualify as strange. But yeah, the whole I see dead people thing isn't going to go over well.
None that I know of. But I'll inform Johans immediately if something comes up.
I'm serious, Mint. You see anything, anyone suspicious, and you report it. Immediately.
Okay.
I think that goes without saying.
The concern he have on the talk of security is quickly gone. His arrogant, smug smirk returns, if a bit subdued. Whatever smarmy remark or innuendo he has at the ready never comes, though, as voices from the dining hall ring out.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job.
Okay, so he overheard this conversation with Zach.
It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least not all the time.
That would be the magazine photographer, I presume? As always, Mrs. Wright talks in such a kind and cheery fashion, no matter who she's talking with. It certainly puts people at ease around her. It sounds like it's working on the photographer, too. Hearing them, though, seems to put Mr. Wright in a sour mood. At least if his small scowl is anything to go by. Is he jealous? Might be. We're pretty close. Nah.
Hey, are you alright there, Whiskey? You're looking like you need a serious drink.
Hey. Alright. It went up. A little bit.
What is it that you want to do then?
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
I'm fine. Just a bit winded from all that moving about. It's been a long day.
Aw.
And the day's not over yet. So if you can excuse the bloodness, you either shape up to help or ship out back to your room and let us do the rest of the work.
Dang. Get out of my bloody way, Whiskey. He hesitates, eyes locked firmly on the door that led to the dining hall. Even now, we can still hear as Mrs. Wright and the photographer chit-chat in between shots.
It's not my place to say this, but she really does seem to care a lot about you, you know?
Yeah.
There's no need to remind me of that.
I don't know. Probably is. A strange smile appears on his face before he shuts his eyes and sighs.
Tell the workers that you're all dismissed early.
That was an abrupt change.
That's nice and all, whiskey. But we really shouldn't just take off. Delays aren't a good thing when it comes to big projects like these. The sooner we tackle certain issues, the better.
And I trust you can take care of these issues another day. Don't make me ask again, Mint. Just tell the others they can go home early, and to not worry, they'll still get paid the remaining hours.
I don't know what prompted this. With the air he's putting on, though, I know better than to meddle and prod further. He just wants to have a quiet drink. Besides...
Fine. You're the boss.
Okay. Walking out of the kitchen, I just accept the fact that whatever he says will go while under his roof. Mrs. Wright and the photographer are still far too busy in conversation to notice me, even as I make my way through the dining hall. It's true, on both of their stories, they never even mentioned you. Besides, I didn't want to ruin their fun.
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Going to the foyer has me stumble upon the family butler once more, who raises a brow at my presence.
And where are you off to in a hurry, Miss McCulloch? The foreman is looking for you.
The Bratwurst wants us off the clock. He's dismissing us early because of... Oh, I don't know.
I'm surprised she got, like, so angry about it, because she was very calm and collected in front of him, and then she's like, bah!
He just wants us out of here.
I'll go and call a cab for you then. It would be for the best that you leave when he asks you to.
I don't doubt it. Voice crack. Alright, let's read about it. That's a nice picture. To keep her mind off of things that haunted her, Mary Ann McCulloch focused on assisting the Wrights during their move-in. Later that afternoon, she was seen chatting with Luke Wright, who then demanded she and the rest of her crew take an early leave. My ride back to the city doesn't take too long to get here. Granted, there were some difficulties at first, because the driver didn't know where the Ermengarde mansion is. He tried to have us hand over GPS coordinates from our smartphones or some other technobabble I didn't care about, and the butler didn't understand. But as soon as we told him it's that haunted mansion over in Anselm Village, he knew just the place. And finally headed over, albeit with some hesitation. All the way back to the city, the driver keeps complaining about that place giving him the willies. It gives me willies too. I would have loved to snap at him. But as soon as the thought occurs to me, another blossoms in the forefront of my mind. One that has somehow bothered me greatly, more than my exasperation over whiskey and this project, or wanting all of it to stop. There's been no Lorraine whispering over my ears today. Worse, I find myself searching for it. Searching for her. Oh my goodness, okay. Damn new Urti! Loose ends. Fucking bloody loose ends everywhere. I thought I've already moved past this years ago. And it does nothing to help me curb my frustration. If anything, it only ensures that I want a stiff drink. And where else do I go to drink? My favorite place. Tuesdays are for karaoke. And Wednesdays, improv. Usually it's these four guys who did hilarious games. The one with Irish drinking songs are always a crowd favorite. Though I love a good laugh, stand-up comedy isn't my thing. And without Cam or Haruna or any other distractions, I end up drinking a lot more this time. And when there's several bottles of beer in me, I get really, really embarrassing.
Hey! G! Psst! G, come over here. I need you for something.
It's a good thing that the bartender is a nice fellow. I'd probably have been kicked out of other places by now. Or worse. If push comes to shove, all he would do is give me an easy smile and a shake of his head even when he's attending to other customers. just like now.
Give me a moment, will ya? I gotta go check on her.
Lee? I'm not crazy, right? That sounded like Lee, didn't it? He's some Asian guy. And I'm pretty sure I've seen him here before a couple of times, although he never talks to anyone else except G. The girls used to be all over him too, but he always turned them away.
I'll be here.
Hey.
You go do that before she falls over.
Asian Joe. Marianne, why?
All right. What is it?
Lee? What? Do you moonlight as a bartender?
Do you need someone to help you get home?
Bartender, pour the wine.
I thought you were having beer. Don't mix beer and wine. That's a terrible idea.
I think that's enough alcohol for you, little missy. I'm cutting you off.
I'm really thrown off by G. A whine comes from the back of my throat as he pulls my bottle away. I have no hope of getting them back once they're behind the counter. Even in my drunken mind, I don't dare hop over it for them. Because what little sense I have left knows I'd sooner take a floor dive than succeed in wresting a bottle from a sober man. But that doesn't stop me from trying to reach out with my arms like a stupid idiot anyway. He smiles and shakes his head, just like I know he would before going back to the other guy.
Right now, where were we? How you holding up, boy?
With no drink and no one to really chat with, I would have gone home, or gone to sleep on the bar right there and then. But I'm not ready to stand up and try to trek back home just yet.
Same old. I'm still on the Luxborn firm case.
Those blokes they talk about being in dark suits, whisking people into the night or some shit and all that. Didn't the media call it some ridiculous name in the morning news?
What is it this time? Wait, don't answer that. They've called it a lot of things. As long as people don't start running around claiming they're the Illuminati. So, what have you got for me this time, G? Anything good?
Slow down there. You haven't even told me what sort of dealing dosh we got. Who are you looking into this time?
Their talk would have interested me, would have kept my attention if I gave a damn. But in my current state, I can barely give two fucks about the things going on around me. All these words are just buzzing, barely surfacing from the sea of sounds that is the pub. And it would have stayed that way, perhaps even drowned, if I didn't hear his name.
Luke Wright. You know the guy.
Oh. So you are investigating Luke Wright.
And don't pretend like you don't, G. It takes a special kind of ignorant not to know who he is.
That smug blonde who likes throwing round his money. He was just here a few days ago, as a matter of fact.
Went home with that lass over there at the end of the pub.
Great tipper, if you think him just dumping a wad of cash on the counter after having too much whiskey counts as tipping. Why are you asking? He dirty?
He dirty.
You have no idea, G. He's probably the worst sort you can imagine.
Go on. Luke fucking Wright. Fucking whiskey. Even without him around, I'm still hearing about the guy. What the absolute fuck. Despite this, I find myself getting up and sauntering over to join them before I pipe up.
Is this smart talk about Luke fucking Wright I'm hearing, eh?
Private conversation here, lady.
There's only amusement on G's face. The Asian guy, he starts to look ticked off as hell.
Don't worry, Holmes, she's clean. And she might be able to help you with your, predicament.
Of course. A drunk's just stumbled through here with what I need.
You know what? First off, I love that he calls him Holmes. Secondly, I can't get over the fact now that Ash actually is dressed a lot like Holmes from London Detective Mysterian now. They both got like the fluffy parka thing going on. Oh boy.
Get real, G. No offense, lady, but you're smashed.
Offense taken.
I know, right? Nothing beats being drunk after a hard day's work. Especially when you're working for Mr. Luke Wright.
So, she works for the guy? Doesn't that make her, I don't know, suspect?
See, have a little faith in me, why don't ya? I don't have much, and you might as well have something to go off. You're the one who was so desperate to come running to me for business.
Yoo-hoo! Still right here, fellas. 5'11", can't miss me. Unlike Shorty over here.
Oof.
What's with that mad look? You want to dance, boy? You don't look like you can bust a groove. Maybe a leg, but with that fancy coat of yours.
To add insult to injury, I moved directly behind him and used the top of his head as an armrest. But when he shakes me off, I plop into the seat right next to him.
Don't try me. You can hardly stay on your feet. We don't want to ruin your fancy coat, do we?
Ah, children, the both of you.
For real.
But you're still standing after all that, are you? Matt, you see this giantess? She's a legendary regular here. Been treated like there's no tomorrow.
I like the sound of legendary giantess.
I'm a bit jealous. Can't do that anymore or my liver will give out on me. Good with the mic, too.
That's true.
Don't see you much recently, but I guess you're always busy, aren't you? You're some fancy designer or something, if I remember correctly.
Wait, I know you. You were at the open house for the mansion.
Yeah, that's right. Marianne I'm a famous interior designer extraordinaire. Ooh, that rhymes.
Does it?
Anyway, you guys were talking about that weenie Luke Wright, right?
Or something. Can't really talk about it.
I like that his name changed to Holmes, too. I just realized.
I don't even know if I can trust you, even if G said you're clean. But anything would be of help.
I showered this morning.
Well, I don't gossip about my clients, if that's all there is to this.
You wanted to gossip about him a few minutes ago, Marianne.
Don't call me out.
And that was the beer talking, not Marianne.
You won't mind if we ask the beer a few questions then?
Maybe. Depends on who's asking and what they're asking. But seriously, that guy is abso-fucking-lutely frustrating.
I wonder what the story update was there.
One moment, he's an absolute dickhead. And then he's acting like an actual decent human being the next. I just can't figure him out. I can't imagine how that pretty wife of his can put up with him. If I were her, I'd dump his flat arse straight up.
And I'm not just saying that because I think Hana's pretty or anything. Luke is a catch too. They both are. But I really cannot, for the love of all things holy, see how they even work out together. Really? I feel like we spent a lot of time with them and seen how fond they are of each other, but fine.
So, Luke Wright, have you noticed anything strange about him while you were working with him? Anything peculiar? Of note?
You're the one being peachy right about now, Holmes. But nah, nothing that comes to mind off the top of my head. He's just like most rich, smarmy arseholes and then some.
A giggle bubbles up and I press my cheek against the cool countertop with my eyes shut tight, just because. Eventually, cracking one eye open, just in case they thought I fell asleep, I grin at Holmes.
So, Holmes, I'm guessing you're some private detective or something. Is it Hannah? Did she pay you to look if he's been cheating or some such?
Hana's the wife, right? What about her? How is she?
How is she or how is she? Well and good. Definitely the nicer of the two and sexy as sin to boot. Not a private detective then. Are you from one of them tabloids wanting to know if the Luke Wright doesn't know how to put his pants on right? Pants. I'd take the pants off of...
Oh, Marianne. Ah, here we go. Slipping. I haven't been this drunk in such a long time. It's like at least 4 days ago. It's a miracle I've been coherent for as long as I have been right now.
I'm asking you if you've noticed any odd behavior from her.
Odd behavior? What? I wonder how she'd be drunk. I can just imagine her like the giggly sort. What do you think?
These are serious questions, Marianne. Lives might just be at stake here.
What do you expect? She's smashed.
Why am I even doing this? This is getting me nowhere, G.
G.
She's not a reliable source. The chief, let alone the courts, aren't going to take the word of a drunk.
Okay, so this is not the police chief. Twin brother? That sounds the same.
This'll be dismissed, and I might be in trouble if they try to argue that I coerced a testimony out of her. This is a fucking train wreck.
You're a fucking train wreck now, if you ask me.
Get him, G.
Maybe it's about time you apply the brakes and stop for a bit?
The wave of despair that comes over the both of them is palpable. If feelings had a taste, it'd be bitterer than the beer I'm full of. And it gets me thinking. Though thinking doesn't get me far with too much shite in my system.
You know that's not an option. Thanks for being patient, McCullough. Good luck with your work on that mansion.
Speaking of that mansion, there's something going on in that place. Something.
Ghostly, Ash. You should listen to your friends when they say they've seen ghosts.
As ocht day! No wonder Mr. Wright likes it so much. It's as fishy as he is. Rotten bloke. Maybe that Santos girl is really onto something, eh? Suspicious shite, I'm telling you. Explains why she's so reluctant.
What do you mean that Santos girl is onto something?
Before I get another word out, there's hands on my shoulders and everything starts to spin. I quickly slap his hands away the best I can and send him the foulest look I can muster.
Take your hands off me, pipsqueak. I'm not a lady who's shaken or stirred unless you want me up-chucking on your pretty hair.
That's a great line.
But it's just like I said. Are you sure you aren't brain damaged or deaf? Santos girl from VRC showed us this creepy letter. You know, just like those spam stuff you get in your emails. And we thought it was some joke or that the girl was just a bit too green to handle a big sale like that. You should have seen the look on their faces when they saw it. Whiskey, that's Luke fucking Wright, you get me? And the missus didn't look too happy either. I should have taken a picture and posted it everywhere.
Uh-oh.
When rich snobs give you that face, no wonder the Santos girl went all mental on us. Working with them does that, you know? I think I'm about to. I'm not mental yet, am I? Anyway, just like I said, in that man... Hey, you okay? Holmes? You're looking a bit shaky yourself there.
And he really is pale. Paler than before, at least. I can see the gears turning in his head on overtime. Come on, Ash, put it together. Suddenly he shoves a card in my hand. Luxburn Police Department, Ashton Frey, Detective Inspector, CID. On it, his name, Ashton Frey, and his number. But he has second thoughts as he grabs it from me and slips it into my pocket.
You're cute, pretty boy. But I prefer blondies.
Heyo.
Well, you're not exactly my type either, lady.
Dang. Shot down.
But listen to me. If something comes up, don't do anything rash. If you think you're in danger or if you see anything suspicious, call me and the authorities as soon as possible. You understand me? That's 99...
It's not a hard number to remember.
I know what the damn emergency number is.
Right, 999. Good.
Says it anyway.
Anyway, I have to run. See you, G.
Ashton. Honestly. Oh, there it is. The interior designer once again drank her frustrations away at the crawl bar. Albeit heavily intoxicated, she was seen chatting with Ashton Frey, a detective inspector working for the LPD about Luke Wright. Before abruptly leaving, the detective left her his calling card. The guy is quick on his feet, already up and at him as soon as the numbers leave his lips. Watching him as he maneuvers through the crowd of other pubgoers is enough to tire me out. Fast as he can, he's at the door and throws us a smile, and that's all we get before he's gone. Just like that. Actually, where is this in relation to Ash? So Zach went with Hana. Okay, so Zach's about to do the pictures. Okay. Alright. Fast as he can, he's at the door and throws us a smile, and that's all we get before he's gone. Just like that.
Oi, what about your drink, boy? I'll go put it on your tab then.
Holmes boy always like that, G?
Pretty much. But what about you? I suppose I'll put your drinks on your tab too. Don't want you to spill your wallets when you look like you're close to spilling yourself.
Yeah, and if it's fine by you, I think I'll go take a bit of a cat nap here. Just for a sec or two.
Go right ahead. I'll wake you when I close up shop.
She's really nice. Swimming in cocktails. Mumbling a sleepy thanks, I doze up on the spot, face pressed on the counter. Already, I drain the pain I'll have for sleeping in such a position. But when you gotta go, you gotta go. Oh. Maybe not.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie? Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite. Unless you ask, that is.
Not that I can get much sleep to begin with. At least it didn't scream at me this time. Ooh. Do people ever have the feeling that they're working on something they really enjoy, but still it eventually tires them out? Yes. Because honestly, I've been feeling like this.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Okay, so this is the day of the party, when Hana asked us for our honest opinion. The moments like these make all the hard work worth it. Although I guess I made that decision, didn't I? Definitely.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
We're only about halfway done, but the honest satisfaction on a client's face is enough for me to push through. Let's face it, in between my exasperation at Mr. Wright's antics and her, I've been burning the candle at both ends. I can't even close my eyes without seeing a dead girl's face. Dead girl. Dead. She's dead. I have to keep reminding myself that, burying my feelings as deep as they've buried her body. 6 feet under. I shouldn't waste so much time on someone who's supposed to be gone. I've wasted so many years thinking about her already. There should be no need to bother myself with the dead when I should be bothering myself with the living. Too bad the living are usually as complicated, if not more, than ghosts of the past.
But don't you have a party?
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see.
Here we go.
That friend he's visiting. He's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
It's even more complicated when the living in question is a pair of rich and famous socialites way past their honeymoon phase. And I've been somehow roped into being a relationship counselor.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Okay, at least I know what that story update was.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But, if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives.
Why she thinks a single woman like me would be the best source of relationship advice is beyond me. Still, I talk and answer to the best of my abilities. Without realizing it, I'm already pouring out a part of me that I had thought were long gone. I'd like to believe my words will be of some help to Mrs. Wright. If I'm honest, though, they are of some help to me, like some weight has been taken off my shoulders. Lorraine.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
The weight of what happened to her hasn't left me yet, did it? Maybe...
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
Maybe it's about time I change that.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
Though I shouldn't dwell on the dead, I shouldn't just callously forget about them too. Saying that I have work left to do is an easy enough excuse to make. I know how other people see me. They see someone so obsessed with her craft that she would so easily miss things like a party for it. Outside the parlor, people hurry about here and there in preparation for the Wright's grand housewarming party. None spare me a glance as I slip past them, each working on their appointed roles and not daring to slack off while they work for what is probably the most powerful couple in Luxburn. I make it into the kitchen with ease, the wine cellar being my final destination. Oh, you're gonna look for the mirror. Okay. We're gonna die. But when is a great task ever simple? Probably never. And this is a great task, isn't it? My greatest one yet that is worthy of being called a quest. I'm not acting as Marianne McCullough, the professional interior designer, when I chose to lie about being too busy for a party. I'm Marianne McCullough, a lawful neutral cleric with 9 points in wisdom and 8 in charisma. Just thinking of it like that makes it a bit cheesy. But it helps with the fear. It helps overcome the insane thought that I'm actively seeking out something that has been plaguing me for years. I might face my worst nightmare, or I might see nothing and find my self-imagined grand quest fall flat. And who would have thought that the gatekeeper to my final quest would be someone I thought would be a valuable ally?
Schnell! Hurry up, you snails! We are on a deadline and you are wasting my time!
The butler comes from the cellar and into the kitchen, tailed by a couple of others. People who I assume are most likely chefs and bartenders. He raises a brow, seeing me just standing there by the hatch, by the trapdoor. It almost looked like he's going to throw me out for being in the kitchen without permission. But then he motions for the others to disperse and familiarize themselves with their surroundings. Meanwhile, he continues to stand there, preventing entry into the darkness beyond.
What are you doing here, Fraulein? This is not the place for guests or in an architect right now. I request you leave.
I was just looking around for any last-minute things, yes?
Yeah, we have such a genuine reason to be here.
Yes, you have been doing that a lot. Looking around, snooping about. Now is not the time for such things. If you're not careful, people might think you are up to something.
You know, that is fair. Fair, I mean. It's very suspicious. The look he gives me as he says this is almost chilling. If life was a game book, he'd probably be the true neutral warlock guarding the treasure room. A difficult opponent to beat with 9 points in wisdom and 8 in dexterity.
Well,
I thought she had
I'm
charisma.
not done yet. I actually need to go into the wine cellar. Just need a quick go at the place. So just don't mind me. I'll be out of your hair soon enough.
Go outside, enjoy the party. Bask in the praise and adulation they will no doubt shower you with when the madam speaks highly of you. Surely you've had enough of this stuffy old kitchen by now. You do not want to cause trouble. Both the bratwurst and Hannah want this to be perfect. It would be a disservice and disrespect to toe out of line and risk it being anything otherwise. And more importantly, I will be blamed for any failure that happens tonight.
His intervention almost turns me away. Maybe this is a sign I'm not meant to seek Lorraine out. But...
Please, it's really important.
15 minutes. 9, 10 minutes. Any longer and I'll pull you out of there myself.
Wow, he's actually gonna let her go.
The bratwurst would be furious if he thinks anyone is touching his precious wine without his permission.
Thank you. This seriously means a lot.
He steps aside begrudgingly. At this point, it looks like there's no turning back.